Hello and good morning to you, my beautiful friends and neighbors. Neighbors in the world, neighbors in spirit, neighbors in consciousness. Because did you know that we are all connected? Yes, we are all connected. We are all stardust. All of our energy comes from the sun. We collectively share it. No one owns the sun, although plenty of people are trying to own all of the water. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. You love me. We are a non-traditional family. I'm so grateful to be here with you today, and I hope that you are grateful to be here with me today as we manage our relationship with fear. And we tell fear that it's okay. And we tell fear that we love him. We tell fear that we love him because he is the tool by which we can achieve joy. Did you know? Did you know that? I knew that. But I only knew that after I started doing psychedelics and taking improv classes. Hello and welcome to you, my Twitch streamer or viewer, I guess. I don't know how any of the terms work, but that's okay. Welcome. I am Rev Deuce, and I am broadcasting live from my hot tub in the sea in Boca Raton, Florida. And I welcome you, and I love you, and I support you. And I will support you in this moment by asking you to type into the chat what you are afraid of so that we can talk about it and make it less scary. Because nothing is scary once we get used to it. Even the scariest things of all. You know how in a horror movie there's these jump cut scenes and it's like just like a gross face? Or you know how in like the 90s or the aughts there was this thing where you'd tell your friend like, hey, I can't look on this map because I can't find a thing. And it was really just a program where after someone clicked or they looked at it for like 5 seconds, it turned into a disgusting, horrible face that was really, really scary. You know, if you went back down and sat in front of that face, or if you just lived with that scary thing from the movie with the jump cut, it wouldn't be scary no more, you know? So why don't you type into the chat? It seems as though I'm the sexiest influencer on the internet because nobody's ever typing into the chat. And my assumption is because their hands aren't free. Okay. All right. Well, that was cheeky. Now type into the chat something that you're afraid of so that we can talk about it. And really, if you're afraid to type into the chat something that you're afraid of, well, guess what? That's what we're here for. That's what it's all about. Just as the improvisational comedian takes one step forward into the scene, not necessarily having any idea of what is about to happen. Just as the improviser follows the fear and says, I do not know what will happen, but with faith, I will step forward towards fear. I need you to step forward towards fear right now, because in fact, fear is our God. Fear controls our decisions. And once we understand that, once we understand that by building a great relationship with fear, we have the opportunity to experience joy more often, that is when we can achieve the singularity? I don't know what a singularity is, but I do know that I love you. Now, everyone seems shy in the chat, but if you wanted to, type a suggestion of anything at all, and I will improvise it into spirituality and motivation. let's get started until that happens. Good morning and welcome to the Mega Team, the spiritual path for improvisers. The world is made up of two types of people, improvisers and everyone else who doesn't realize that they're an improviser. For you see, in every moment in your life, you're just making it up. Now you have a strong deal, aka ego, which every improviser, when they start a scene, they have to make up a whole deal. They have to create the whole thing. But we all have inside our beings, like in the way that I guess Venom from the Spider-Man or Spider-Man himself or I guess the Wolverine from X-Men, we have the ego is ever present through our body, clinging on to everything, like Texabanium or whatever it is that is inside Wolverine, Timatranium. It is intertwined with our bodies, our ego. And so you are an improviser because you are every day experiencing the same tensions of the improviser. Is my ego so strong right now that I cannot hear the person across from me? Is my ego so strong right now that I cannot listen and accept and agree with whatever is being put before me? In good faith, of course. We do not have to agree with the rise of global authoritarianism. You are already, hey, I'm afraid to fly after this recent succession of terrible aircraft crashes. You know what now, Mo? We've been talking about the entire suite of public. First of all, Mo, it's great to have you here. I love you so much. You are a disciple. Let's just say it. And I don't always like to use those words, but as also, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Oh man, you're afraid to fly. I just said to my fiance this morning that I am afraid to fly. We have a couple trips lined up later this year, and I just want to drive. I absolutely agree with you. And did you know that Elon Musk Doge is a scam? Elon Musk is enriching himself. And one of the ways he's enriching himself is, guess what? They fired even more FAA people, even though our system is overtaxed. We know people have been complaining for years there are not enough air traffic controllers. And yet they fired even more. And then Elon Musk said, he tweeted, don't worry about it. SpaceX will take over the functions of the FAA. Because all that Dodgy is a power grab by the world's richest man. And somehow he has tricked everyone. I'll tell you how. I was just making a meme just before this because I'm going to start making memes, because they're memes. Memes are really how we communicate these days. And did you know that the term is drawn from social science, psychology, and that information is physical? Anyway, I digress majorly. Mo, I imagine that you are like me, that when you get onto a plane, even though you have overcome your fear of flying, you still find yourself, just like when we are at the edge of a cliff on a hike, or near a ledge, at the top of the Empire State Building or something. It's like, what if I did jump? And when you're on that plane, you're like, what if it did crash? What would I do? I mean, I wear my contacts on planes always in case there's a crash because I don't want my glasses to fly off and I can't see what I'm doing to exit the plane. Because you know what? That plane did flip over the other day, and guess what? Everybody survived. So it's not crazy. I'm not crazy. I just want to be able to see in case of an emergency. Now, Mo, I love you so much, and I love the other viewers who are here. And just so everyone knows that Mo is typing, because we have some people on Twitch and YouTube, and Mo is typing into the chat and saying that they are afraid to fly after the recent succession of terrible aircraft crashes. Oh. But I hope it feels just a little bit better to speak that fear, Mo. And I hope you got a beautiful picture taken yesterday. You know, the fear of flying makes total sense. It is one of the fears that is most understandable, although all fears are understandable. Even fears that some might think are negligible because they do not have that fear themselves. All fears are valid because fear works at all times to inject himself into our minds, our bodies, our spirits. Fear's whole deal is to pass his fright onto us. Fear gains strength the more we all are afraid. So perhaps today, Mo, we can not dismiss your fear, but we can embrace your fear. We can decide that your fear is justified, and we can monitor it as we move forward. For you see, it applies, the rules of the Megachurch of Joy apply to your situation just as they apply in all aspects of life. For why would you fly? You would hopefully fly not just for business, which can then lead to a paycheck, which can then lead to the purchase of a product or service that delights you, which can then lead to joy. But perhaps when you land, you are picked up at the airport by your sibling and your niece or nephew, and the sight of their smiling face brings you joy. We know that on the other side of fear always is the opportunity for joy. And so we will continue to monitor and manage Mo's relationship to the fear of flying in the face of completely understandable context. And we will, with good faith, support Mo in the processing of that fear, the invitation of that fear to sit down next to them in the lunchroom, on the bench, and say, "Fear, I know you're afraid, and I love you. And now let's go get to Albuquerque together." I've never been to Albuquerque. I haven't been to too many places in New Mexico. Now, where is everybody? Where is everybody streaming in from today? Because I'm obviously, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, in my hot tub by the sea. You know, another thing that I was thinking could be really fun is for me to appear in a hot tub in various places. Maybe I'll put a hot tub in the Oval Office, because obviously anything goes in there these days. Now, can you imagine if George Soros was holding a press conference in the Oval Office and Joseph Robinette Biden was sitting there looking like a dope, and it was obvious that George Soros was running the show and his grandchild was running around telling Biden to fuck off? Can you even imagine for 1 second? Gosh, by golly, what a world it is. And you know, the people who are the most afraid are the authoritarians, because for whatever reason in their lives, they were taught to perpetuate fear. They are so injected with fear of being exposed, that they must lie and oppress. Now, if someone else wants to type a fear into the chat, we can talk about it. We can also, oh my God, what have I done? I've opened Spotify by accident. course, you can type a suggestion into the chat and I will improvise it into a sermon of spirituality and motivation. Please present in the Oval Office. I will. Now that's interesting. Now my dumb software is telling me, Mo, that no one is watching on YouTube. Fascinating how bad technology is at the same time that it allows me to beam my face across the world to all of you. Now, I realize that I need to do more bits and I need to spend some time off camera, out of tub, remembering all of the improv exercises that I have done over the years. But so I would like to talk for a moment about status and ego. For you see, the world is more open to us when we drop our ego. And we work on dropping our ego when we engage in improvisational study. We also work on dropping our ego, but it might not be work at all. Actually, it is work because it is a trip, it is a journey. When we do psychedelic drugs. And so in improv, we do an exercise in a level 1 class about status, where everyone is given a playing card and they put it on their forehead. And so if you have a king or a queen, you can't see your card, but the people walking around, then you pretend you're at a cocktail party, and so people go, "Oh my goodness, can I get you anything from the kitchen? It's such an honor to have you here." And then if you're wearing like a 3 on your head, then someone, I don't know what my status is, but I might walk up to you and see that you have a 3, and I might say, "Excuse me, I'm upset that you're here, unless of course you're a member of the staff. And if so, please get me some cheese immediately. If I don't have cheese in my hand within the next 30 seconds, I will absolutely shit a brick." And that's how you play with and manage and understand that a tool in your tool belt as an improviser is to always be in control of your status. And you could play high status or you could play low status. These are types of tricks and tools where you walk into a scene, you got nothing. You have no idea what's going on. You know that you're a spaghetti monster because your teammate just told you you were. And you don't know what the hell to do with that. And so one thing you could do is, I'm a lowly spaghetti monster, or I'm a regal spaghetti monster. But so when we are doing this exercise, what you can see and observe at times is that people have a major problem lowering their status in real life. They play this game, they've signed up, they've paid $400 for 8 weeks of an improv class. And in a safe space where they're playing with other adults, they simply are unable to behave as though they are a 1 on a scale of 10. They are unable to pretend even to be subservient to someone else because they have built up an ego which tells them that they have to protect, that they should be afraid of being exposed, that they should be afraid of looking a certain way, that they should be afraid of being anything other than dominant. And so the improviser works on understanding that it is okay to take a back seat, just as it is also okay and necessary to sometimes lead. And so by working on that and practicing that, we become more evolved humans. We become humans who are better able to adjust to the trials and tribulations of life. You know what? I'm just going to write that into my notes. I'm going to just write down the status game. And then eventually, if this becomes a call-in show, which I don't really understand I don't know how the internet works. I'm just a 44-year-old man in a hot tub. You know what I'm saying? A Florida man, no less. But once I figure out how to have phone calls, we can play all sorts of games. You know what I mean? We could play a game where I ask people to manage their energy. It's a game I used to play when this was a in-person event, the Mega Church of Joy. Is my volume okay? Because I lowered the sound of the sea, if that's even possible. It's a real ocean behind me, but I lowered the sound of the sea and the sound of the organ because I want it to be louder. And I don't know, there's so much to figure out, isn't there? Now, what does everyone do? Where is everybody? Where are you coming from today? Now, I have another question for the audience. Acolytes like Mo. Now, would you be interested? All right, volume is fine here. I love that. Would you be interested? And what part of the world are you coming to me from, Mo? Because I love you. And also, would you be interested in me leading like a 10-minute meditation? Because I can do that in earnest if people wanted to sit down in their chairs and meditate. Northern New York, wow, wonderful. The Adirondacks, the Keene Valley, perhaps. I've spent a fair amount of time in the Keene Valley, and gosh, by golly, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more beautiful area of the world than the Adirondack Mountains. And I've been in a lot of places. I used to live in a van. Can you believe it? I'm so grateful for those of you who are here. And of course, this is an interactive show, and I do appreciate people interacting with me. I always would like the opportunity to improvise a sermon, but absent of that, let's talk about the power of yes and how you will support others today. Because I find that when I do this, even when I just do this character, sorry to admit, but I am a character. I am not a real person. I am the figment of this flesh suit's imagination. I actually don't have a southern accent, if you can believe it. But yes, and the power of support. I find that when I talk about this, then in my real life, I naturally go and I have a supportive attitude. I go over to my fiance, who has an interesting relationship with connection and being supported, and I say, how can I support you? And it doesn't matter that she isn't sure about being supported, because what matters is that I expressed that and put that into the world. I put positive energy into the world in a time when positive energy is needed more than ever. When there are forces who are working overtime and using their massive wealth to divide us, to make us disconnect. There is nothing more important in this time for us all to connect, to support one another, to listen and to agree. For you see, when we agree with each other, even despite our differences, we are making a step towards a world that is more beautiful and more full of joy than the one that the billionaires and millionaires and broligarchs want for us. These accelerationist maniacs are just afraid. Elon Musk is the scaredest little boy of all. scared that he will be discovered to not be good at video games, scared that he has no value other than hating other people, scared that his grandfather was wrong to be a member of the Canadian neo-Nazi party, that his grandfather was wrong to be the head of the technocratic whatever leadership party that was actually banned in America because it was a threat, fascist threat. These people are scared. And unfortunately, they have the ability to cause great damage with their fear. And so we need to help them have a better relationship with fear. And sometimes that means intervention. Now you can read into that however you want, because you have a brain and an imagination. You have the power to create any reality. And we learn that when we improvise and when we trip acid on the shores of Boca Raton. Now, has anyone here ever done psychedelics before? If you haven't, no prob. And I would wager that we can naturally achieve psychedelication, sometimes through meditation, long meditation. Sometimes I've meditated for almost an hour. But so, if it's all right, I'd like to round out the show by, what do I call the meditation section? Hold on, I have like a document. I used to do this, so from one of the theaters during COVID, when you couldn't meet up in person, I started doing this show live on Instagram, and I took a bunch of notes, and that's kind of what I use to remind myself of the places that I can go. Of course, I could improvise the whole thing, but you know, you want to have some structure a little bit, right? This is let's face facts. This is a show after all. Well, you know what we have to do that we haven't done yet? First, let's just do the daily dose. We can all say this together. This is our prayer. Self, today I endeavor to be a better teammate than yesterday. I vow to step onto the stage of life, to keep it simple, to listen better, commit harder, and to give more expertly. It is my joyous burden to make those around me appear as rock stars and to support the ideas of others. I will move past obstructions, drop insecurities, and put trust in myself and others. I will attempt to emotionally connect with whomever I meet. I say this in the spirit of best intentions. Yes, and. We might emotionally connect with someone we meet by saying, "Hey, how are you doing? You having a good day?" You might say, "Hey, you want to talk about something?" You might say, "Now, I am a little bit worried. Is that okay to share with you?" It's a two-way street, emotional connection. And it's okay if the other person is afraid to hear that you love them. It's okay if the other person is afraid to hear what your fears or anxieties are or what's going on with you in between your ears. It's okay. We all should be learning to share what's going on inside our brains more. Because the more we share our internal life, the more we are aware of others, the more we are aware of our connection to others, the more we are able to connect with other people. And human connection is the foundation of joy. You know, when I was out living in a van, I was in beautiful places. but I was by myself. I was out in the big sky of the western half of North America. I was in the desert looking up at the stars with very little to no light pollution. And by God, it was beautiful. And I would say that to myself. I would say, God, this is beautiful. But I didn't quite understand, as much as I had already, the power of human connection, the need for humanity to exist alongside of us, to enrich and sustain our experience of joy. Because I'll tell you what, I was trying to make friends out there on the road in the van, and I reached out to people who had van life accounts on their social media, and I had one as well, and I connected with a young lady. She became a friend of mine, and we had an improvisational spirit. We did not know each other. We spoke on the phone once, and we decided, and this was more important for her because I am a white man who is the most dangerous type of human there is. And she was comfortable with my energy, and she said, okay, yeah, let's meet up. And so we met up at a BLM site, and we lived together. She had her trailer and I had my van, and we lived together in harmony for about a week. It was a nice time. And maybe the first or the second night we had a campfire. And it was so beautiful. It was a half full moon, so the sky was somewhat bright, but the stars were still pumping hard, giving us that understanding that we are just specks of stardust in this universe. And as we looked up at the sky, and the crackle of the fire was at our feet, illuminating the space around us in just the most wonderful, most beautiful way you could imagine, I said, by God, Renee, isn't this beautiful? And I'll tell you what, I mean, I had said that to myself plenty of times, but it did not have the same impact. It did not make me recognize and feel and understand how beautiful it was until I had another human being there to say, yes, Deuce, it is beautiful. That affirmation, which is the key to human connection and the bedrock of joy. I'm getting tingles. I'm getting tingles because I am re-experiencing that moment of connection with another human being. How will you connect with another human being today? You know, one of the reasons that the world is so dark right now is because our young people are afflicted with the disease of social media, with the disease of algorithmic humanity, with the disease of these things that live in our pockets and constantly remind us we are not good enough, constantly remind us of the hate and violence in this world, constantly remind us that we might gain social capital by attacking others. There is nothing more pure and better than a face-to-face human connection. There is nothing more pure and more better than coming together collectively as one, for we all are one. We are different energies, and the way that we communicate our energies beyond the physicality of movement is the physicality of language. And so we must share ourselves with others in order to achieve joy. We must give ourselves to others in order to achieve joy. We must be grateful for others in order to achieve joy, because I know the misanthrope has trouble extending themselves to other people. I know the introvert has trouble believing that connecting to another human is the avenue they can travel to get closer to joy. But I also know that if we push past our fears of connection and we seek agreement and affirmation, we may not find it from everyone, because, again, fear is our God. Fear is having a conversation with every other human being that you see in every moment. You know, I live in New York City. I see thousands of people every day. And fear is having a conversation with all of those people at every time. And so when we understand that, when we understand that the people that we are afraid of if we are a misanthrope, that the people we are afraid of if we are an introvert, the idea of how draining it would be to give our energy to others is real. And when we give our energy, we may be disappointed at times. But if we practice, and if we commit to the idea of putting ourselves out there, friends, hear me now, believe me later, or believe me now, we are that much closer to joy. If you would like to type into the chat where you are coming from to see me, Deuce, live on the shores of Boca Raton, Florida, I would love to know where you are in the world. Of course, I do have to get back to work. I am trying to become an influencer so that I can make money to continue to do this. I'm so bad at it that I have not set up a tip jar. It seems as though Stream Elements only allows me to set up a tip jar using PayPal, and of course PayPal is what was the instigating incident that has saddled us with Elon Musk right now. It is the tool of the oligarchy. But I might have to get over that fear so that I can, well, make money and keep doing this. I'm so sorry. But if you would like to type into the chat the suggestion of anything at all, I can improvise it into spirituality and motivation. And then, yes, I do have to get back to work editing video, which I am afraid of, because editing video is a way to waste away my entire life. But it is not a waste, for I am spreading messages of enlightenment and joy. Mo, if you could tell 2 more people about what we do here, I would be most overjoyed. I'm sure you have already communicated to the people in your life. But you know what? Here we go. This is how we're going to end the show today. And maybe I shouldn't call it a show. I should call it a service? I don't know. It's fun to try to do these analogs to traditional religion. Maybe I should call it, I call it a jam. That's what I call it. What am I talking about? This is a jam. That's right. Sometimes you forget, the things that you've created because you're so focused on creating more or being in the moment that memory starts to leave you. What did I say we were going to do? totally forget. I made a mistake, and that's okay. Oh, that's right. I would like to challenge my teammates today. I would like to ask you, suggest to you, that's right, that's the language we should use. I would like to suggest to all of you that you try to connect with someone today. Reach out to a friend, a neighbor, a loved one. I always have a running Rolodex in my brain of people that I intend to connect with, people that I intend to text, people that I intend. Hell yeah, Mo. Mo says in the chat on YouTube, yes, I have, but I'm on the not on the major social media platforms. I'll do my thing on Substack and Reddit, though. Yes, hell yeah, Mo. Hell's fucking yeah. But we say, I intend to call my mother. I intend to text my best friend who I somehow haven't spoken to in 2 months because they live on the other side of the country. I intend to reach out to my brother so that I can talk to my niece. But do we do it? Oftentimes we do not. And guess what? When we do, it feels good. So that is my gift to you today, is to provide to you the suggestion. Maybe type in the chat the initials of the person that you are going to reach out to today. And if it's not the right time, they're at work, let's do this. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's commit to each other. We are going to set a timer or an alarm for the time of day that we are going to reach out to that person. So type their initials into the chat. I will type the initials that here we go. Boom. I'm writing a note because I have ADHD. But it's okay because I am on drugs. Drugs that our new head of making America diseased again will try to ban. But interestingly, he's pro psychedelics. Yet still I cannot support him in the ways that I would want to. I'll figure out ways to support him. I guess it would be to recommend going to therapy. Oh, that's how I support all these ghouls, is recommending that they go to therapy. Golly, if everybody just did psychedelics, took improv classes, and went to therapy, what a world it would be. I know that the world would be a better place if we all practiced listening and agreeing. That's why I'm here in this hot tub. That's why I founded this church. Now we have a Twitch streamer who's extremely shy. And I would love to know who it is that they're going to reach out to today. But Mo is going to reach out to RB. I am going to reach out to DK. I like this segment. I'm going to write it down. The initials of who you will reach out to today. See, I just think that there's nothing more positive than what I'm doing right here. This is not, okay, maybe it's ego, but just, gosh, by golly, we need this energy in the world. How will you connect? How will you support? How will you give? How will you commit? And how will you be thankful? All right, I really do have to go. Wait, what? Does this sound bad? Does this sound bad? Because it sounds bad to me. We're just testing it out. So look, I love all of you. I'm so sorry to have just ruined the vibe by making the microphone overbleed or whatever. I should know what you call that. But we will end as we always do by asking you to like, subscribe, follow. You could go to Public Enlightenment and pledge a subscription paid donation. That's my rope-a-dope, of course. PublicEnlightenment.com is all about healthier information. I am a cunning genius who has tricked all of you into wanting to care about the quality of your information in the toxic information ecosystem that we have. That is right. I am just a trickster. Hell yeah, staycation. I love it. Mo, I am in love with you. I hope you understand. I want to be where you are right now. I know it's cold, but I imagine you could have a porch, and I imagine, maybe you're in a town, maybe you're in like one of those little like downtowns. It's very like Germanic up there in northern New York, right? You just like out on a 2-lane highway, and then all of a sudden you're in a little town. That's kind of how I think about Germany, because that's what it's like. But I can just imagine you with your cup of coffee and your staycation, and you're in a robe, and you step out onto the porch, and it's beautiful, and there's trees and there's birds singing, even though it's the dead of winter. It's a little warmer here in Boca Raton. So anyway, I leave you with that. I see Mo has given me the wrap-up signal. Oh, thanks, man. Very cold and lots of snow in a small village, Amish country. I love that. But I'm so grateful for your energy, Mo, because it sustains me. You know, I would continue to do this anyway because I do believe in it, but it is so nice to have recognition and a sign from the universe that when my fiance leaves to go to work and I sit down and I put on this shirt and I put on these glasses, that I am connecting with people and I am giving them value. And I have a dream that eventually there will be thousands of people in this space, and we will be helping so many people understand that life is better when we connect and when we embrace fear. I might start crying. So I love you, you love me. We are all a wonderful family. We will reach out to someone today and we will support them simply by making a connection. And so we remind everyone about the symbol of the megachurch of joy. The symbol of the megachurch of joy is the the broken circle. The incomplete circle. I guess I gotta codify that one. For we know that fear is our God, and fear keeps us walking in the same circle in life, not breaking free from the pattern and the rut that fear puts us in, but staying in it, grumbling and grousing and complaining and judging our way through life. And we know on the Megachurch of Joy that we have the ability in any moment to break free, have a new idea, and start a new scene, a scene where we are that much closer to joy because we are embracing fear. And on the other side of fear is joy. Yes, and follow the fear. I can't find the stream. It's not here. There it is. I love you. Goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.